My 56 female fiance moved in with me a few months ago, and we plan on getting married soon. When my fiance, 26 female, and I started dating, my daughter, 19, lived on her college campus, but now she lives at home until she graduates. My fiance is a non-confrontational person who doesn't complain about my daughter, but that doesn't mean that I'm blind and can't see that my daughter is being difficult with her. First, it started with my fiance being unable to use our kitchen because she always leaves a mess. Then my daughter complains about my fiance being bossy because she asked her to clean up after herself once or twice. Then whenever I return from work, my daughter's music is on full blast when my fiance is there. A few days ago, I saw that my fiance was angry about something. When I asked her what was wrong, she told me my daughter had taken her clothes from the washing machine to put hers in. I believe that all of this is very childish, and I feel like I need to stop all of this behavior. I told my daughter that if she continued down that path, I'd stop paying her tuition, and she'd have to get a job and move out. My ex-wife called me, and she was angry with me. She said I was trying to push our daughter aside to appease my fiance and called me an idiot. My fiance, on the other hand, is mad at me and called me an idiot because I ruined all the chances she has to have a relationship with my daughter in the future. I want to know if I'm the idiot because I'm trying to do what's best for my daughter and my relationship with my fiance. So, am I the idiot? Did you try talking with your daughter first to find out what's happening? Find out if this was intentional or just a habit she has from either campus or at her other parent's house? Or did you go straight to the punishment stage before getting the full picture? Major, you are the idiot. Yeah, why was your daughter not able to use the kitchen? And she removed the clean, washed clothes into a basket so she could use the machine? The horror. Your daughter's in her 20s and in college. She isn't looking for another parent. Of course she isn't going to take well to some young lady trying to parent her. Your ex is right. You're trying to push aside your daughter to appease your fiance. Exactly. You brought your very young fiance to live in a home already occupied by yourself and your daughter. So right off the bat, your daughter has to deal with someone in her space that's only a few years older than her. No matter what the request your fiance is going to make, your daughter will see it as a challenge for her turf because she lived there first and is also your flesh and blood. If you're okay with cutting all ties to your daughter and never speaking to her again, please continue down the path and mindset you're in. Agreed. OP brought a second child into the household and is all surprised when the conflicts begin. Andy tries to exert control by throwing his weight around and making financial threats. Info. How long have you been engaged? And did your daughter meet your fiance before she moved in? Does your fiance have a job? We've been dating for a year. I introduced them even before she moved in. I proposed to her 2 months ago, and she does have a job. We met through work-related mutuals. I'm open for all of us to sit down and have a conversation, but I'll never give up my relationship just to appease my daughter. So you introduced them even before she moved in. How generous of you. Dude, do you think introducing the two of them before one of them moved into the household is all it takes for two women to be compatible housemates? And that you'll improve their relationship by threatening financial aid for your daughter? You are the idiot, and you're deluded. Your daughter will go no contact as soon as possible. My male 28, wife Sandra, 27, and her family are from Spain. Her parents and her 3 siblings, Ricardo, Anna, and Bruno, live here in the U.S., too, with their respective families. Everyone but Bruno, who's the youngest, is married. As they're from a different culture, they do some stuff that we would consider weird in America, one of which is giving a kiss on the cheek as a hi. I've grown used to doing it, so I didn't mind it until now. Around 2 months ago, maybe a bit more, Bruno called the whole family to tell us he was gay. I congratulated Bruno, as did everyone else. We had a good time with family after that, and this is when my problem came. Bruno said in front of everyone that if I wasn't married to his sister, he would jump on me. Everyone laughed, but it was certainly uncomfortable for me. Later, he doubled down by saying, "I have a cute butt." Might I add that Anna's husband was there too, and Bruno said nothing to him, only me. When Sandra and I came back home, I tried speaking about how uncomfortable his joke had made me feel, but she just brushed me off by saying that Bruno always jokes like that. She doesn't see why now is different. The next time we saw each other, soon after that because our family is very close, was at our home. Bruno had come to pick up my eldest two kids to take them to a baseball game. When I opened the door, Bruno said hi and leaned in to kiss me. I realize now that he kissed me too close to my lips rather than my cheek. After that, wherever we saw each other, I just kind of pretended to be sick or too busy so I could just shake his hand as a hi. Apparently, Bruno had noticed this because yesterday, my wife approached me and asked me if Bruno had done something to make me angry at him. She told me Bruno has seen me off every time he's near and wants to know if he should apologize for something. I told her the same thing I had told her before, plus the kiss thing. She told me I was exaggerating. Bruno was just joking and such. I've tried telling her it feels very weird that my brother-in-law, keyword brother, would tell me he likes me and would pursue a relationship with me if I wasn't already family. I've tried saying that I can't talk to Bruno about this, but she told me not to do it. She told me that if those were my reasons for not giving him a kiss, then I was an idiot, and she'll make up a lie for Bruno. She also told me she was very disappointed. Am I wrong here? Not the idiot. If Bruno was straight and you were a woman, we wouldn't even be asking. He's harassing you. And I would change the way you frame it. You started distancing yourself from Bruno once he started making unwanted intimate advances toward you. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Agree. It's not a joke if everyone isn't laughing. I bet they would have a problem if you said something like that to Anna, but it's okay for Bruno to talk like that to you. Also, just because people from a culture perform introductions by kissing on the cheek doesn't mean you have to be okay with this and go along with it. It's funny. I was just having this conversation with someone yesterday. I have a lot of gay friends and will stand up for LGBT rights any day, anytime. That being said, I've noticed a few, not a lot, but a few of my gay male friends have made it their mission to sleep with a straight man. When I called them out on it, they tried to claim I was phobic. Boy, no. It's idiots like them that give the gay community a terrible name. I find their actions no different than a guy being aggressive or inappropriate to a woman. Needless to say, I've stopped being friends with them. So I, 37 male, have an amazing wife, 39 female, and two amazing little kids. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. My parents were immigrants, and we didn't have a lot growing up. We weren't poor by any means, but we still couldn't do things like afford a house with more than 2 bedrooms or go on family trips. I never left the state of New York until my senior year of high school. It didn't help that I got a sports scholarship to a Manhattan private school, and I'd always heard of their luxurious vacations, and I felt a little jealous. But every spring break, my dad took my 2 sisters and me to this campsite in upstate New York. We slept in tents, went fishing, made s'mores, and had a great time. My wife is from a very wealthy New Jersey suburb and grew up spending vacations abroad or in Florida. Our different upbringings don't affect us that much, usually. We both have very good jobs and can give our girls a great life. Usually we take our kids on luxurious cruises and vacations, but this year, I suggested to my wife that on spring break, we go camping so I could give the kids a little taste of my childhood, and she said yes, very excitedly. But as much as I've tried to explain to her what I want it to be like, she doesn't understand. First, she was looking through these insanely luxurious RVs with separate rooms and TVs. I explained that it was way more than we needed and we could just sleep in tents. She was appalled at the idea. So then she found this very upscale family camp where we could stay in cabins that were basically mini mansions and eat in a cafeteria that looked like a 5-star restaurant. I've explained nicely that I don't want this to be this luxurious vacation. I found a nice campsite we could go to, but all the lots are outdoors, and she was not okay with that. I tried to compromise and found a family camp with cabins that were more laid back, and she was also grossed out by that. I feel like she's not willing to compromise at all, and it's making me sad because she gets to share her childhood and have nostalgia through her experiences with our kids all the time. But the second I do, it's a problem. I feel like she's incapable of relinquishing control, and usually I'm okay with that, but I wanted this to be my thing. I want to tell her that I want to do this my way, or just take the kids myself as my dad did, but I feel like this would also make me an idiot. Not the idiot. I imagine your wife meticulously planned your prior luxurious trips, as that's her forte. I tell her that you expect her to take a back seat for the planning this time and let you do your thing, just as you've allowed her to do prior times. If she continues to argue about her own comfort level regarding the camping plans you want to make, I think you should just go ahead and tell her straight that she isn't required to come and that this is something you wanted to do specifically for yourself so you can bond with your kids your way. Assure her that it's not like her presence would be a nuisance and that she's more than welcome to join, but that she can't dictate this specific trip. You shouldn't have to compromise on everything. You are the idiot. Listen, I was a scout as a kid. I've been camping in a tent, on a 2-centimeter thick foam mat and a sleeping bag. I've been camping in the rain and assembled a tent while it's been pouring down. I've made a 14-day trip with many other scouts, just like that. I went with my family to a camp on the beach. And you know what? I'd never do it now as a grown-up. I've got the money for a proper bed and a nice room, with room service. The idea of lying on a foam mat in a tent, watching out for the bugs and the snakes, is repulsive. OP, I'm sensing some real resentment here, that your wife had such a wealthier upbringing than you, and is giving your children a better experience than you had. Do your kids even want to go camping? Are they even old enough? Your memory of camping as a child will be very different from what you'll experience as the one in charge. Your memory has a golden haze about it from childhood. Your break will be work, and so will your wife's break. Putting up the tent, building a fire, watching 2 young children in an area filled with injury risk, etc. It would be better to go for a long weekend to see if you enjoy it now that the work and the responsibility are on you. Jesus, he just wants to take his kids camping once. If they don't like it, they can never do it again. But maybe they will like it, and it becomes a fun family trip. Everybody in here says the bar for dads is so low, but when one tries to plan a family trip, he gets crapped on. And good grief, wanting to go camping as you did as a kid does not mean you resent her wealthy upbringing. My sister asked, and I told her, but I suspected she didn't want to hear what I'd have to say, even before I answered. My sister's expecting her first child. She's not sure if they're a boy or a girl yet, but she started compiling names. I teach elementary school, and my girlfriend teaches high school, so we are around a lot of kids of different ages. My sister has a love for old-fashioned names, so names at the top of her list are Judith, Margaret, Dorothy, Ethel, Harold, Donald, Albert, and Eugene. My sister and her husband were having some disagreements on names because he felt like the names my sister likes were too old-fashioned. She argued against that, but he said he doesn't think any child would use those full names in school or with friends. She said they're beautiful, and look how many Elizabeths and Charles there are in the world who are young and only use the full name. So she decided to ask me what my experience was with kids. And I told her that in my classes, none of the kids with classic or old-fashioned names go by the full older names. They all go with a more modern nickname. She was already angry, but asked my girlfriend's experience with older kids, teens, and I said, from what she has said, it's the same. She asked what happens if we use their full name, and I told her I always respect what my kids want to be called, and so does my girlfriend. My sister went a little crazy on me and said just because I don't like the names doesn't mean I should discourage others from using them. I reminded her that she asked me about my experience and that I didn't offer it out of nowhere. She told me my snarky little comment about modern nicknames was enough. She said I was calling my future niece or nephew's name ugly already. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to. If she wanted an echo chamber, she should have asked that before asking her ridiculous question. You and your girlfriend do right by the kids, calling them what they request. My son likes to be called Char. Yes, short for Charizard at school, because in the past, there were multiple kids with his name in his class. I can't stand it, but everyone at school respects his request and calls him Char. Your sister will have to learn that she's cooking a little human inside of her, and that little human will want different things from her, and she'll need to accept that. No one wants to yell, Eugene, it'll get shortened to Jean, as it did back then. Dorothy was often Dot or Dottie, and Margaret was Maggie or Marge. Like, your sister's nuts if she thinks her kids with 2 or 3 syllable names won't end up with shortened versions. I am hoping she's just a little extra emotional due to the pregnancy. OP, you did nothing wrong. You just answered her questions honestly and fully. I'm male 30, have a daughter, young teen. I'm a single dad, and it's always been just her and me. My daughter, due to health issues, has always dealt with a lot of joint pain, which is a difficult thing to deal with at such a young age, and it's challenging seeing my daughter in chronic pain. We're watching my sister's dog, who's a high-energy golden retriever. This morning, my daughter was playing with the dog, not just throwing a toy or something, but full-on roughhousing with the dog. I saw right away that her doing this wouldn't end well for my daughter, so I warned my daughter that playing with the dog like that probably won't be the best idea and told her she'll probably be in pain later, so she better stop. She told me she'll be fine. After that, I told her she better stop because I didn't see a good outcome. She ignored me, so I let her roughhouse with the dog, which went on for over an hour. When my daughter was done, I could tell she was feeling some pain already. She didn't complain throughout the day, but it was very clear she was in pain, specifically a more intense pain after playing with the dog. My mom came over to visit and saw my daughter clearly in pain, and usually, when my daughter has more difficult days with managing her pain, I make sure she's comfortable and just try to make her feel better. Well, today my daughter wasn't willing to tell me she was in pain, so I wasn't about to start comforting her when she was trying to act like everything was fine. I explained that to my mom, and she got upset and told me I needed to grow up and stop being a stubborn idiot just because my daughter didn't listen to me. So, am I the idiot? You are the idiot. For Pete's sake, your daughter wanted to play with the dog. My heart aches for your daughter that such a simple joy as playing with the dog causes her significant pain. Would it really be so awful to show empathy and care for her when you can tell she's in pain, even if she doesn't say it? It seems like you're withholding comfort from her until she gave you the I told you so moment you were looking for. I was the kid with chronic pain. It was so hard. You just want to do normal things, but you pay for them every time. Sometimes you do them anyway, even if rationally it might not be wise, because you have to get some joy somewhere. Living with chronic pain can be a really difficult and frankly depressing existence. Be kind to your daughter. Boy, you really know how to suck the joy out of a moment. She can still learn her lesson and feel loved and supported at the same time. You just go hug her and tell her with love and compassion and a bit of humor. You played a little rough, huh? She's young and just wanted to feel normal for a little while, even if she knew she'd pay for it later. It's not rational, but again, she's young and has to deal with this and a stubborn know-it-all father. Even if you comfort her, she's still being punished. She's still in pain.